Someone whispers in the ear of the Providence police chief that the suspect being in custody is the wrong word. This Brown University press conference is another disgrace. What the fuck is going on?
Now someone's in custody. How you all are working together to garner that information.
Custody is the wrong word.
Someone being detained, rather.
Correct. And so, yeah, someone being detained, it led us to that point as far.
Now, as a like just random citizen cartoon, I don't really understand the difference between detained and in custody. I mean, maybe like detained is like they can still let him go, and in custody is like we think he did it, so we have kept him detained. Maybe. What the fuck was that accent? For the love of Mike. Interesting Rhode Island accent, pretty much. Detained is not under arrest, it's being questioned. Custody probably means they have charges. Custody means arrested. Did I accidentally explain exactly what it was while thinking I didn't know what it was? Detained is under investigation. In custody is held on charged persons. Thank you. Yes, you did. Yay! This guy brings up a good point. How does Brown have 816 cameras and not one real photo of the shooter? How does this make any sense whatsoever? And then he asks, where are all the posts from the Brown University students? How are their eyewitness accounts not spreading all over social media? They're all shelter in place with their phones. Why aren't these stories getting out there? Do they not use X? Shouldn't they be rushing to speak? And in other situations like this where we've had lockdowns, we've seen videos and people posting from in the lockdown. I didn't even think about this, but this is a good fucking point. Where are all of the students who should be posting about this? They were still in late classes or already left to the bars for the day? It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. This guy said, I've never seen our community chat board be more active. Hundreds of messages a minute. I think people just wanted to be with their community. And so the autism guy said, can you please share updates? This is your chance to fill people in from a student's perspective. The world would like to know what is going on over there. And the guy responded, the chat's kind of dead. Anything going on? Oh, it's gone. Interesting. This has been posted. It says, I appreciate all the DMs I've been getting, checking in after today's shooting. I was luckily off campus and am perfectly safe. Just praying for my classmates and hoping they catch the suspect as quickly as possible. What an awful day. So this guy had originally responded to this saying that he didn't think it was his place to say anything. And I don't know why that's not here anymore. Hopefully Autism Capital doesn't say weird shit. Because he responded to that post as well. And I wasn't expecting the other post to get deleted. That's kind of insane. It's really weird that this guy would have been like, yeah, actually, the community chat boards were super fucking active. And this guy asked for him to post it. And he was just like, it's not my place to post that thing. That's a little weird. That's a little, because he did involve himself. Providence Mayor Brett Smiley, that's a weird last name, after the deadly Brown University shooting. This is part of another press conference, I'm imagining, because this is not during the night like the one we watched.
We still have an active investigation underway. We still have students in the hospital. I won't be shy about sharing what I think needs to be done to make my community safer, but I'm not doing that today. What I will say is when I was at the hospital today, one of the students that showed tremendous courage literally said to me,
literally,
you know, that active shooter drill they made me do in high school actually helped me in the moment. Which at the same time provided me hope and was so sad. We shouldn't have to do active shooter drills, but it helped. And
we shouldn't have to do active shooter drills, they say, at a gun-free school zone in a state with incredibly strict gun laws. I retweeted something for this earlier too. I thought this was really funny. Please, bro, just one more law, bro, I swear, we just need one more law, and then people will stop doing the mass shootings, dude. I promise, bro, the only reason there was a mass shooting on a gun-free campus in a state that bans assault rifles entirely is because we don't have enough laws, please, bro. It's very, very, very fucking accurate, man, Jesus Christ. Real gun bans haven't been tried. And then we have, police now have a suspect in the mass shooting at Brown University, but are refusing to provide the suspect's age, race, or motive, only stating that the shooter yelled something before the attack and that the weapon used has a unique characteristic on it.
Again, my condolences and thoughts and prayers with the families that were impacted by these actions. So yeah, as the mayor stated, we have detained someone of interest, but I respect and to protect the integrity of the investigation, I would only be limited in my details. The next process for us is what we do best, and our detectives is to coordinate with the prosecutors, to collect evidence, to conduct interviews, and then from there, we'll be able to, when it's appropriate and accurate, to share more details with you all. But I'm pleased to say that the mayor stated the collaboration between our federal partners, our different municipalities in the state, is all hands on deck. And, you know, when there's incidents in the city that shock the conscience, we know for a fact that we just step up. And the federal agents, our federal partners, I want to thank them for their assistance, but as well, every single municipality, the state police, and every other chief in the state. We came together as a small state. It impacted a lot of us, the incident that occurred. And so, again, I'm just happy to share with you that we're in the process now of coordinating with prosecution, conducting interviews, and being able to collect evidence so that we can protect the integrity of the investigation and that we can hold the individuals accountable for their actions.
Weird feeling they might try to ban lasers now. No more laser tag. Left copes harder about guns than you do about Half-Life 3. You actually had a friend ask you what would happen first, Half-Life 3 releasing or Ilhan Omar being deported. That's a tough question. I feel like both of those things are equally likely to happen. Remember putting a laser on your rifle makes it an assault rifle. Yeah, the way they were talking about, like, even the police yesterday night it was really fucking weird. It was just really weird language. New York Post said Brown University sophomore says this is the second school shooting she has survived. I'm really angry. And then this guy had responded, and I saw Nick Sortor's tweet, like when I was just scrolling yesterday, and I just scrolled past it because I was like, oh, it's another fucking freak lying about having been somewhere. I'm just not even going to pay attention to someone who's a lying freak. And so I just scrolled past it. And then this morning, when I saw that she had a fucking article, I was like, oh, whatever. So I'm glad I found this post because I would have had to scroll through Nick Sorter's timeline. But Zoe here said, when I was 11, I told myself I'd never go through a school shooting. When I was 12, I told myself it would never happen again. Now I'm freshly 20, and I've once more been proven wrong. First Parkland, now Brown University, my safe haven away from my trauma. And Nick Sortor responds with a picture of Parkland High School shooting, 2018 mass shooting in Florida. You were in high school at 12 years old? And so someone else said, so not Stoneman Douglas and on the neighboring street a half mile away where no shots were fired. Zoe responded, I was outside at the middle school and heard shots. No, it's not half a mile away. It's directly next to Douglas. You could probably do more productive things than troll a school shooting survivor on Twitter. And the guy responded, so you're admitting to having not even been at Douglas or on scene at all, nor actually experienced any of the shooting. Purely just clickbait. Someone else responded, what are you trying to prove here? I would genuinely like to know. Why are you so determined to invalidate a young person who was traumatized by a school shooting? And the Origin guy responded, I'm proving that she's literally just trying to capitalize on a tragedy at her school by lying for attention. That's horrible and retarded, and it should be called out. Now, see, when you live in a time where being a victim is currency, calling out someone for lying when they're trying to be a victim makes you the bad guy. This is much like, was it Pelosi or AOC? I can't remember. One of them had talked about, like, being in fear of their life during January 6th when they weren't even, like, in the building when anybody walked in. Was that AOC? Okay, thank you. It was AOC who said that. And it's just like, the truth doesn't matter. The truth doesn't matter to these people. It's all about emotions and what makes a good story. Your good story doesn't have to be true as long as you get to climb that victim pyramid. Which is why when you see people attacking me, they often call me a cry bully. Because them attacking me was good and righteous, but me defending myself makes me a bully. It's straight up insane that these Twitter freaks think that the person literally lying about being in a school shooting isn't the problem, but everyone calling them out is. It's once again just a poignant way to notice the divide in where we are as a country, where it doesn't matter to people what's actually true. What matters is what sounds good and what can get them victim points. So this article says a Brown University sophomore who survived the 2018 school shooting in Parkland, Florida, which, no, was deeply angered after experiencing yet another gunman on her campus. I'm really angry. I'm angry that this is happening to me all over again, and I'm just in shock, Zoe Weissman, 20, told MS Now. You know what's crazy? If I had actually been in a shooting and I was a survivor, I would have the doubled down effort to carry a gun on me at all times. I would be like, I legitimately do not care about your gun-free zone. I'm not going there because I know I'm not safe. I think mentally, I feel like I'm 12 again. These feels exactly how I felt in 2018. What? Weissman said of the shooting that killed 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Weissman added that there are currently no classes in session at Brown, but students were out and about taking finals before the winter holidays, when a gunman opened fire Saturday evening, killing 2 and injuring 9. There's already students who survived the school shooting in Oxford in Michigan, and then went to Michigan State and survived another school shooting, she said. What? This isn't a new phenomenon, and we're going to get to a point where there's people like myself who survived 2 of these. I think the use of survivor has been stretched a little thin. If you have been shot or even shot at, then I think the term can fairly apply. If you were just in the general area at the time, then the term should not apply. I was sitting at a red light yesterday and the car behind me got rear-ended. I'm not a survivor of that car accident. I can see what this guy's trying to say, but I would put a little bit more wiggle room on that, right? Like, if you were in the classroom where people got shot and you did not get shot, I would say that's a survivor. If you were in the classroom across the hall where people got shot and the shooter didn't come into your classroom by some sheer veil of luck, I would consider that person a survivor. If you managed to run down to the boiler room in the basement of your school and lock yourself in the boiler room and the shooter never came down to you, I would still count that as a survivor. Because they were in the building, they were in immediate danger, something could have happened to them, right? I think like, we've gotten to a point where it's so difficult to communicate with each other, we have to like argue about the minutiae of the definitions of words. And it's very annoying. If you were 3 blocks away, not so, yeah, exactly. If you were like even a block away, you weren't in the building, you weren't in the area that was getting shot at, you're not a survivor, man. And then there's this tweet that says, breaking, there are now 2 students who survived the shooting at Brown University in Rhode Island tonight that also supposedly survived 2 other well-known mass shootings. Zoe Weissman, a Parkland survivor, and now Mia Tretta, a hardcore gun control and anti-Second Amendment activist who has met with disgraced former President Biden and just happened to be there tonight. Both have already been making the rounds on CNN and MSNBC, pushing the gun control agenda in the immediate aftermath of surviving yet another mass shooting. Does anyone actually believe that this is a coincidence? We're talking about 2 completely different parts of the country, 2 alleged repeat survivors of mass shootings years apart from one another. Call me a conspiracy theorist, guys, but something just isn't right about this. I was like, well, Brown is an Ivy League college, so I could understand that there is a possibility that 2 people who have survived school shootings could then go on to an Ivy League college and be there at the same time. And you can never predict when someone crazy is going to do something crazy. So it's improbable, but not impossible. But also considering how Zoe's story doesn't exactly check out, and she wasn't even at the school campus where the shooting took place, I don't know, man. You should recheck all your sources. There's no way an 11 or 12-year-old was in high school. Imagine. Brits gave up their firearms in 1997. Less than 30 years later, they're being arrested for Facebook posts. Imagine. Imagine. But yeah, I have no idea who the Mia Tretta person is, but apparently she is giving some interviews on what's going on. That's 2023. I was shot at a school shooting at 15. Last night spent locked down at my university while learning of casualties and the many injured. This is not how I imagined life when I was a little girl. I miss that carefree child I once was, thinking of the many affected. When I was a little girl, I imagined being married to my high school sweetheart and having many children with him. I am now a cartoon hag on the internet for fun. Life don't always turn out the way you want it to. Pakistani National, thank you. RGE believes that women don't like guns because it makes them accountable for themselves, and it would mean them expecting that their society is never going back to the way it used to be. I would like for women to be able to own guns instead of being anti-gun, right? And like, I don't understand how, like, and maybe it's because these people also are people who don't like to acknowledge biological reality, but by and far, unless you are some, like, crazy MMA trained woman, the average man is stronger than you and can overpower you. What he can't overpower would be a firearm. And so it just makes sense to me as, like, the smaller and weaker sex. If I got attacked, a gun is an equalizer in that kind of situation, right? And like, even if you are a woman who has, like, some crazy fighting training and you're muscular and beefy as fuck, all the guy has to be is larger than you, and he could kind of hold you off, even if you might, in, like, a fair fight situation, be able to beat him. It just doesn't make sense to me, but I disagree that these things are mutually exclusive. Women should be able to carry guns and defend themselves, and in a healthy society, men would also be protectors and hailed as heroes for doing the protecting, instead of being dragged through courts and prosecuted like someone like Daniel Penny was. Both of these things should be able to exist if we were a healthy society. It's like the meme with the lions showing all the different fighting styles versus the Glock in my back pocket. A female bodybuilder tried arm wrestling average Joes and you believe lost 75% of her matches. Yeah, I mean, that's like the only scenario that I could even potentially think of, like, a woman being stronger than an average man, is if they had, like, intense training. And even then, like you said, most still are not able to beat them. I don't think women owning guns would preclude men protecting them. I think men should protect women, and they should be hailed as heroes when that happens. And women should also own guns and protect themselves, right? And, like, even if your man is protecting you, you having a gun means that you are backup for him, right? Imagine that scenario where that deranged leftist was, like, grifting off her boyfriend's death after he protected her and got stabbed to death by some crazy lunatic on the street. If she wasn't a lunatic leftist that didn't give a shit about her boyfriend dying to protect her, if she had a firearm, she could have maybe helped defend both of them, right? You're one of the guys that want to help other people and protect, but you get crapped on, so you no longer try to help anymore. Ben, your dream as a kid to be a hero, but now what's the point of even trying? And this is what I said years ago as well when I first saw this kind of behavior. Like, even, and especially at the peak of, like, when Daniel Penny happened, it makes me think of Chinese society. And in China, people are disincentivized from helping one another. When you watch videos out of China and you see people getting run over or hit by a car, in China, typically, if you hit someone with your car, you run them over until they're dead. Because if you don't, you can be held liable for their bills. In China, if you see someone having a problem or giving birth or getting stabbed on the side of the street, you just walk past them like nothing's happening, because if you even acknowledge what's going on next to you, you could be held accountable for any of those things going on. And especially at the peak of Daniel Penny here, I was saying that this is a very scary alignment, that our society is going down the same exact path. The same exact, don't trust anyone around you, don't talk to anyone around you, you have no neighbors, you have no friends, none of these people matter, and you should never think that they matter. And having that opinion walking around outside is a very dangerous mindset to beset.
And called into police. I mean, the reality is that this is a 7-story physics and engineering building that was unlocked, but this individual went to a specific classroom that was essentially in a study session for an exam on economics, and chose that classroom. And we know from a witness inside that this gunman yelled something. We don't know what this individual yelled, and then began shooting. We also know that this person reportedly used a handgun. So a lot of questions also as to whether or not they were...
It's interesting that he says that reportedly used a handgun when one of the eyewitnesses was like, he had the longest rifle I've ever seen in my life. Well, which one fucking was it? How do we have so many conflicting supposed eyewitness testimonies here?
Covered that handgun, or what kind of ballistics evidence may have led them perhaps to this individual as well. So we have more questions than answers, other than the fact that we know the lockdown has been lifted, and at least according to the mayor, this community can breathe a sigh of relief. But hopefully we hope to find out more in the coming hours.
But Laura Loomer said Brown University mass shooter yelled Allahu Akbar before opening fire on campus, according to sources. According to what sources? Where are your sources? You haven't linked anything here. According to what sources?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
How come the media is suppressing eyewitness testimony about how the shooter at Brown University allegedly shouted Allahu Akbar before he opened fire on campus the night before the first night of Hanukkah? Okay, but like, where are you getting this from? Like, who told this to you? The media is only saying he shouted something before he opened fire. Yes, and that is very weird. That is very weird that both the media saying he shouted something, we don't know what, and supposedly an eyewitness person who was in the room at the time of the shooting doesn't remember what was shouted. Very weird. Very suspicious. But like, source tells me he yelled Allahu Akbar, but it's being kept quiet by police and the Democrats who run Rhode Island. Tell the American people the truth, tell them what was shouted. Okay, but like, even if you have a monomonymous source, the best thing you could do would be like, get a recording where it garbles their voice, right? Like, at least that would be somewhat more believable than just typing this, right? Kash Patel said, an update on the FBI response at Brown University. FBI Boston established a command post to intake, develop, and analyze leads and run them to the ground. We activated the FBI's Cellular Analysis Survey Team to provide critical geolocation capabilities. As a result, early this morning, FBI Boston Safe Streets Task Force, with the assistance of U.S. Marshals and Coventry, Rhode Island Police Department, detained a person of interest in a hotel room in Coventry based off of a lead by the Providence, Rhode Island Police Department. We have deployed local and national resources to process and reconstruct the shooting scene, providing HQ and lab elements on scene. We set up a digital media intake portal to ingest images and video from the public related to this incident. The FBI's victim specialists are fully integrating with our partners to provide resources to victims and survivors of this horrific violence. The FBI will continue an all-out 24/7 campaign until justice is fully served. Thanks to the men and women of the FBI and our partners for their continued teamwork. Please continue praying for the victims and their families, as well as those at Brown University. So this was a retweet of someone saying, Australian hero took gun off shooter, terror attack Sydney, at least 10 dead, Australian hero took down the gunman. And this Captive Dreamer account said, rewatching this is wild. The guy disarms the terrorist like a patriot, but then doesn't shoot him. Terrorist runs to his friend and gets another gun, and it looks like he shoots the Good Samaritan's friend in the arm. Insane. And someone in chat earlier said that the guy who disarmed the terrorist, I guess, maybe didn't know how to use the gun, right? So that would be why he didn't shoot him. But it's like, I don't know. Throwing the rock seems like it would be way less effective than just trying to shoot the gun.
Oh!
So you see the Good Samaritan, the guy, tackle the terrorist, take the gun away. You hear shots because there's another shooter. But the Good Samaritan did not take... I want to call him hero. The hero did not take any shots at the terrorist. The terrorist is just kind of chilling.
Hyper courageux.
Just kind of, and then he throws a rock at the terrorist, which obviously not going to do anything. And it says that the terrorist guy, I don't know if there's anything in this video that I can't show because I don't want to show like bodies or anything, but they said that the guy managed to get another gun. I don't know where he is. I guess it doesn't show it in here. But they said that the guy managed to like go and get another gun and like keep shooting. And it's just like, that guy, the hero guy did absolutely the right thing. And if he's not hailed as a hero by everyone in Australian media, I'm gonna pop a fucking blood vessel. It says, a survivor of the October 7th terror attack in Israel was injured in the Bondi Beach, Australia terrorist attack. He recently moved to Australia and told News 18 he never expected to face something like this here. And this is again why I say like the school shooting people being at 2 shootings in their lifetime. It's improbable, but it's not impossible, because you get stuff like this. You get stuff like Irina Zarutska fleeing war in Ukraine, coming to the US, only to be murdered by some fucking animal that never should have been on that train, right? You have these people who have endured horrific things and end up having to face them again when they flee somewhere that should be safer. Australia took away its citizens' guns, but 10 people at Bondi Beach are dead anyways because terrorists don't care about gun laws. Wow, who could have seen that coming? The only thing the Australian government did was make sure its unarmed, law-abiding citizens are now sitting ducks, unable to defend themselves. This is just people running from the beach.
¿Qué está pasando? ¿Qué? Alicia, escucha, Alicia, porque me pasa algo. Algo está pasando, pero no sé qué. Pero ¿dónde va la guru?
An eyewitness to the Bondi Beach Islamist attack in Australia that killed 12 claims that 4 armed police officers were present for the duration of the attack but did not return fire. Arm yourselves, even if you are not allowed. The state will not protect you. This, 1,000%. If I am going to go to a gun-free zone, I understand that that doesn't mean actually gun-free. That means you are a sitting target for anyone who wishes to kill you. I'm either not gonna go there, or I'm not gonna listen to the fucking sign. Thank God the police were there the entire time. It's like the Uvalde freaks that just did fucking nothing. Why are you even a police officer if you're not going to actually do your job? Like, it's a hard job, it's a dangerous job, but if you're not going to do it, you should not be a police officer. Much like those female Secret Service members when Trump got shot. Instead of jumping in front of him, they jumped behind the male Secret Service agents. You should not be a Secret Service agent if that is the thing you're going to do.
Can you tell me what happened?
Yes, there was 2 shooters. One on the bridge, one under the bridge. Just start to shoot for 20 minutes. They shoot, change magazine and just shoot. Simple as that. 20 minutes was 4 policemen there. Nobody give fire.
Moshi's French accent is a little bit hard to understand. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
Back, nothing, like they are froze, like for, it looked like 20 minutes, like, and they shoot, the guy change magazine. I look at him all the time. I was with 2 of my babies under me, and I look at that, and it's just rifle and a pistol, and just shoot. And the other one was under. They start to come close to the audience. I think one of the people took his rifle and shoot him. That's one of them. That's what I saw. I didn't know how much I saw, but...
Who were they targeting?
Oh, all the crowd. Anyone. Jewish. Just shoot. Doesn't matter who.
Yeah.
Men, all, kids, everyone. Was no...
Did they say anything?
I couldn't hear. Like the shooting was so loud that we couldn't hear if they say. I was too far. Like he was on the bridge. I was near the tent. So, but I saw. I look at him. I look what he shot. I look at his rifle. He aimed. He did. He really like take his time. He should take his time. And 4 policemen there didn't.
So dramatic. I feel like if you're on location at a terrorist shooting, you're allowed to be a little bit dramatic, because that's a dramatic fucking situation. What do you mean? They're literally gunning them. Yeah, they're literally being gunned down. This is like, I would say he's even kind of reserved. Like, I don't think he's being dramatic.
Back. I don't understand why.
He has a very prominent hat. Yes, because it was Jews they were shooting at. What do you mean?
What's going through your mind?
Nothing. Like I'm Israeli. Like I'm familiar with this situation, but like it's terrible in the middle of Bondi. It's terrible.
What was tonight supposed to be about?
Hanukkah events.
Shocking Jews at a Hanukkah event. I'm so shocked that there were Jews at a Hanukkah event. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented. Ham the Third, thank you. Australia learning the folly of gun-free zones. People see over and over again the atrocities that happen in areas without citizens being able to defend themselves, and yet claim we need more gun laws. It's like the people who are claiming we need more gun laws after the Brown University shooting. And it's like, what do you mean? Brown University is a gun-free zone and Rhode Island has very strict gun control laws. What the fuck more do you want?
Like we do it every year. Sunday, first day of Hanukkah, we do it here. For me, it's not, I'm get used to that, but...
What is this?
Like try to kill us, like this, like terrorism, like try to kill Jews. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are. You kill a Jew, that's it. And it's time to people in Australia to start to understand.
Random beach Jew. I'm sorry, it just sounds like a funny RPG encounter. I encountered the random beach Jew and now I am on a Hanukkah side quest.
We are not a target. We are civilian like you. We do the same thing. There is no reason that we feel not safe here in our country. This is our country. This is how we live, where we live. We need to feel safe.
Is your family safe? Is your family okay?
I come with 6 kids, and thanks God, yes, everybody's safe.
Okay, and what did you see? The people who, did you see anyone injured?
I see 6 people dead and 6 people injured. 6 or 7 people injured.
What words come to mind? How do you describe this moment?
I was a soldier, so I just checked that my kid is okay, that everybody around me is okay. Call medical people for the injured, and that's what I can do, to collect my kids and run away to the car.
You were a soldier in Israel?
Yeah.
Did you ever expect a war zone at Bondi?
Israel? She put a spin on me saying Israel, and she called it Israel. What the hell?
Bondi Beach.
But I know it's come one day. I know it's come one day. I saw many incidents. I know it's come one day, but not that level. No, I thought one gun car, one shoot, one bullet, not 20 minutes.
What's your name, please?
My name is Shmulik.
Could you spell it for me, please?
SHMULIK.
Your surname?
Scuri. SCURI.
Thank you so much.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up. And yeah, I agree. Arm yourself even if you are not allowed. The police aren't going to protect you. And you should know, if you do try to be a hero and you do manage to disarm a terrorist, you should just shoot them. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah, you might be demonized by the state for doing it. You might get dragged all over everywhere for shooting a terrorist and stopping them from killing more innocent people. But you still would have been objectively in the right then and for always. And you're probably going to get the best legal defense team that anyone can buy. Let's be fair. Sadly, may get arrested in some countries. Sadly, but this is like... This is the evil will persist if good men do nothing kind of logic, right? Like, you can stay in fear of the consequences, or you can neutralize a threat literally in the act of killing innocent people. Lethal force is authorized in defense of self or others. And it's good. It's gonna be a fucking hard-ass fight if you're in one of the cuck countries that doesn't let you have firearms. Obviously. But I still could not imagine the mindset of someone actually leaping to action, disarming a terrorist, trying to save people, and then not killing the terrorist. New York State would throw the book at you? Fuck them. There's an entire environment of fear of the state, and eventually good men are going to have to start doing something, even if it's scary. Gunmen kill at least 16 people in attack on Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's Bondi Beach. I'm gonna have to like run my brain gears every time I try to pronounce that. An attack at a famous Australian beach killed 16 people, including a child, officials said Monday, after 2 gunmen opened fire at a Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's Bondi Beach. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called it an act of anti-Semitic terrorism. Hundreds of people had gathered Sunday at the beach for an event to celebrate the first day of Hanukkah when gunmen opened fire. At least 38 others were injured in the attack. New South Wales Health Minister Ryan Park said the death toll had risen from 12 to 16 overnight, including a 12-year-old child. 3 other children are being treated in the hospital. This is absolutely horrendous for the community broadly, but particularly the Jewish community. What we saw last night was the worst of humanity, but at the same time, the very best of humanity, Park said. True, there was the hero guy. A massacre at one of Australia's most popular beaches followed a wave of anti-Semitic attacks that have roiled the country over the past year. Although the authorities didn't suggest those on Sunday's shooting were connected, it is the deadliest shooting in almost 3 decades in a country with strict gun control laws. And I imagine it will not be the last. One gunman was fatally shot by police, and the second was arrested and in critical condition, authorities said. Police said one gunman was known to security services, but there was no specific threat. I don't even have anything witty to say. It's just exhausting to constantly have the, well, he was on our radar, but he wasn't a threat yet. At least 29 people were confirmed wounded, including 2 police officers, said Mal Lanyon, police commissioner for New South Wales State, where Sydney is located. Police said officers were examining a number of suspicious items, including improvised explosive devices found in one of the suspects' cars. The shooting targeted a Jewish celebration. This attack was designed to target Sydney's Jewish community, New South Wales Premier Gunmen said. The violence erupted at the end of a summer day when thousands had flocked to Bondi Beach, including hundreds gathered for the Hanukkah by the Sea event, celebrating the start of the 8-day Hanukkah festival. Chabad, haha, an Orthodox Jewish movement that runs outreach around the world and sponsors public events during major Jewish holidays, identified one of the dead as Rabbi Eli Schlanger, assistant rabbi at Chabad of Bondi and an organizer of the event. Israel's foreign ministry confirmed the death of an Israeli citizen, but gave no further details. Police said emergency services were called to Campbell Pride in Bondi at about 6:45 p.m., responding to reports of shots being fired. Video filmed by onlookers showed people in bathing suits running from the water as shots rang out. Separate footage showed 2 men in black shirts firing with long guns from a footbridge leading to the beach as sirens wailed and people cried out in the background. One dramatic clip broadcast on Australian television showed a man appearing to tackle and disarm one of the gunmen before pointing the man's weapon at him and then setting the gun on the ground. Mins called the man, named by relatives to Australian media as fruit shop owner Ahmed Al-Ahmed, a genuine hero, which he is. Still wish he would have shot the terrorist, but I'm glad he disarmed him and prevented further carnage at the time. Witnesses fled and hid as shots rang out. Arsen Ostrovsky, a lawyer attending the Hanukkah ceremony with his wife and daughters, was grazed in the head by a bullet. Ostrovsky said he moved from Israel to Australia 2 weeks ago to work for a Jewish advocacy group. What I saw today was pure evil, just an absolute bloodbath. Bodies strewn everywhere, he told the Associated Press in an email from the hospital. It was like reliving October 7th all over. I never thought would be possible here in Australia. Lachlan Moran, 32, from Melbourne, told the AP he was waiting for his family when he heard shots. He dropped the beer he was carrying and ran. I sprinted as quickly as I could, Moran said, and he said he heard shooting off and on for about 5 minutes. Everyone just dropped all their possessions and everything and were running, and people were crying. It was just horrible. Albanese told reporters in the capital, Canberra, that he was devastated by the massacre. This is a targeted attack on Jewish Australians on the first day of Hanukkah, which should be a day of joy, a celebration of faith. An act of evil, anti-Semitism, terrorism that has struck the heart of our nation. I feel like this is just going to keep happening, right? I mean, they target Christmas parades. They're targeting Hanukkah celebrations. I don't think this is going to be stopping anytime soon. He vowed the violence would be met with a moment of national unity where Australians across the board will embrace their fellow Australians of Jewish faith. King Charles III said he and Queen Camilla were appalled and saddened by the most dreadful anti-Semitic terrorist attack. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in a post on X, the United States strongly condemns the terrorist attack in Australia targeting a Jewish celebration. Anti-Semitism has no place in this world. Police in cities around the world, including London, said they would step up security at Jewish sites. Anti-Semitic attacks have roiled Australia. Australia is a country of 28 million people, home to about 117,000 Jews, according to official figures. Anti-Semitic incidents, including assaults, vandalism, threats, and intimidation, surged more than threefold in the country during the year after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7, 2023. And Israel launched a war on Hamas in Gaza in response. The government's special envoy to combat anti-Semitism, Gillian Segal, reported in July. Last year, the country was rocked by anti-Semitic attacks in Sydney and Melbourne. Synagogues and cars were torched, businesses and homes graffitied, and Jews attacked in those cities, where 85% of the nation's Jewish population lives. It's also interesting that there's lots of churches that are also getting torched. This is like Jews and Christians, Catholics are all getting like mass casualty events constantly. Albanese in August blamed Iran for 2 of the attacks and cut diplomatic ties to Tehran. Pastor Matt Graham was conducting a service at Bondi Anglican Church when panicked people began to enter for shelter. He said that anti-Semitism has been brewing in Sydney's eastern suburbs, including Bondi, where the Jewish community is centered. I'm surrounded by anti-Semitic graffiti constantly. I think for our community in the east of Sydney, and as a Christian, I just want to declare I stand with the people of Israel, Graham told the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Israel urged Australia's government to address crimes targeting Jews. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he warned Australia's leaders months ago about the dangers of failing to take action against anti-Semitism. He claimed Australia's decision, in line with scores of other countries, to recognize a Palestinian state pours fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. I don't really care about the sandbox war. I just don't want terrorist attacks to be happening. I don't know enough about sandbox war to really have an informed opinion. So my opinion has always just been, I don't like my tax dollars going to some foreign war. I just don't want to see people fucking constantly dying, and I don't want terrorist attacks on my soil. Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia, and the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today. Mass shootings in Australia are extremely rare. A 1996 massacre in the Tasmanian town of Port Arthur, where a lone gunman killed 35 people, prompted the government to drastically tighten gun laws, making it much more difficult to acquire firearms. Significant mass shootings this century included 2 murder-suicides with death tolls of 5 people in 2014 and 7 in 2018, in which gunmen killed their own families and then themselves. In 2022, 6 people were killed in a shootout between police and Christian extremists at a rural property in Queensland state. Christian extremists. It's an interesting way to phrase it. I don't know what they're talking about, so everybody hates everybody else there and have had hate for generations. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's a little interesting how many times anti-Semitism was brought up in this article, but whenever you read about, like, a church shooting or a church getting set on fire or something like that, it has nothing to do with the hating Christians. There's no hate crime there. It's like, I don't want to see any of these things happening, but it's still that double standard that bothers me a little bit, I guess. But they like to explain how they were extreme. I mean, Christian extremists do exist, right? We have, like, the laughable Westboro Baptist Church people. But I don't know what case they're talking about there, so I have no idea if these people are Christian extremists or if that's just inflated journalist language. And then, Disclosed TV posted this, just in, Islamist terror attack on German Christmas market in Bavaria foiled. 3 Moroccans, 1 Egyptian, and 1 Syrian arrested, according to the Bild. 5 Arabs are alleged to have planned an attack on a Christmas market near Dingolfing in Lower Bavaria, Germany. So, I mean, I'm glad that this got foiled before it actually happened. But whenever I read about terror attacks on Christmas markets now, I'm gonna have that, like, the Christmas market side quest has become a PvP zone. I'm gonna have that video in my head for the rest of my fucking life, honestly. This would not have been prevented without information from US authorities. I don't know, but it's just interesting how as soon as the holiday season ramps up, as soon as we're getting into Christmas and Hanukkah season, there's a lot more terrorist attacks. I'm sure there's no correlation whatsoever, though. Sky News, Bondi Beach attackers were a 50-year-old and 24-year-old father and son. The father, now deceased, had 6 firearms licensed to him. How in the fuck did he manage that? Especially if he was known to whatever the Australian FBI is called. New South Wales Police Commissioner Mal Lanyon confirmed police are not looking for a 3rd offender. If your police person looks like a fucking side character lesbian in a comedy show, he's probably not a very efficient police officer.
We have progressed at pace overnight with that investigation, and as a result of investigations undertaken, I can say that we are not looking for a further offender. We are satisfied that there were 2 offenders involved in yesterday's incident. 1 is deceased, the 2nd is in critical but stable condition in hospital at the moment. The offenders are a 50-year-old and 24-year-old male who are father and son. The 50-year-old is deceased. The 24-year-old is currently in hospital at the moment. As part of the investigation, we conducted 2 search warrants last night, one at Bonnie Rig and a second at Campsie. The 50-year-old male is a licensed firearms holder. He has 6 firearms licensed to him.
I'm kind of curious exactly like what goes into getting a license in Australia. Because I don't know, but it feels like if you're a country of, like, ninny politicians who have gotten rid of the majority of gun rights for its citizens, you might not exactly know how to correctly vet people to give them firearms anymore. Maybe I'm just being silly, but it feels like maybe you might not know how to do that anymore.
We are satisfied that we have 6 firearms from the scene yesterday, but also as a result of the search warrant at the Campsie address. Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used in the offence yesterday at Bondi. We will continue to investigate this matter thoroughly. It's important for the community to have the reassurance that New South Wales Police, working with our Commonwealth partners, will not stop until we understand the reasons behind this senseless incident and take any available action that we need to do.
Well, at least it was a legal mass shooting. I have a feeling that this is probably going to be the like, see, he was licensed. We were right to get rid of most of the gun rights, so we need to actually crack down even harder. I was like, I would probably blame whatever licensing program is there for just not being efficient enough. How the hell do you get a license as an unknown entity from an enemy country? What even are fucking politicians doing anymore? Complete what the fuck?